Okay, good morning. This is March the 12th, and this is President's Day. And so thank you for being here. Wow, what a busy week, huh? Just so many things going on in so many different places. Um, I feel that I'm not able to catch up on everything because there's just so much going on. We were having a discussion here with Randy just when he came on, and he and I were talking about it early when we got on here, and that is we're just absolutely feel like we got so many plates spinning in the air at the same time. How many feel like that? You got so many plates in there. Yeah, yeah. Everybody's there, yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting here going, okay, now I know Steve's level of competency, right? And I know when I get more than two or three plates that I'm spinning at the same time, I know something's going to drop, right? I'm not that coordinated. I'm not Superman. And so, what do we have to do? We have to learn, like we've been talking about in this whole masterclass program, is we're going to lose our minds because all of us are here with a great, what's the right word? A great heart and a great soul. We want to make such a difference in this world. And guess what? We reverence the Creator in that we don't want our life, this most precious resource granted to us by the Creator, we don't want our life to do what? To be meaningless. We want it to be full of meaning, right? And so if it's meaningful, what does that mean that happens to our calendar and our time and our effort and our focus, right? We keep pushing it up, looking for the edge of our own personal capacity. And then we go, yeah, I think I can take on about two or three or five more extra projects, right? How many of you done that? And you keep doing like this to so many folks. They say, hey, by the way, can you help me with this? And hey, can you do that? And you're like, wow, and this program is really good. Can I do that as well? And what we end up doing, I had on one of my networking calls that I was at in New York this last week, great individual, 35 years at IBM, Bob Russo, amazing life coach. And so he and I sat down for a little bit and talked. And I love to be a mentor to a lot of individuals, but guess what? I need to have a mentor too. And so I get a chance to sit down in front of someone that has all this incredible experience. And you know what he did that was so incredible, so absolutely incredible? Nothing. We just sit there during part of our call, and I watched him just sit there and close his eyes. And I watched him take this big clearing breath. And you know what that did to me? Forced me to do the same thing.
As you breathe.
Yes. Because when I came on that call with him, he said, tell me what's going on. And I began rattling down this list of I'm doing this and this is going and I'm moving this down the chessboard and this is working well and a new strategic partnership here and this is doing well. All these things I'm getting checked and he's like, and he's a little bit older than me. Okay, I don't know how much, but a little bit older, right? And he said, you know what I just did? And I'm like, no, tell me, Bob. He said, I just got up from a nap. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how many of you would like to have a nap in the middle of the day? Hmm? And then how often do we get one? Yeah. Yeah. Because why? You know what I have on my calendar? I have on my actual calendar, I have a 30-minute slot that's called rest and regeneration. It's designed for me to take a breather, to do meditation, take a nap if I wanted it. And how many times do you think that I actually get that total, no interruption, 30 minutes sitting there, mind meditation, and maybe even a rest, maybe nodding off for a second? How many times does that happen? Okay. So it's important that I have that on the calendar, right? But not always does it get there. Rarely. I mean, I do get it. But here's the thing, we got to learn how to take all those things we keep saying yes to and saying no to those things that allowing them to do what? Saying no to the good things, letting them fail in order to do what though? To do greater things.
To
There's
great
only
things.
Yeah, there's only so many things, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many focus things. And I've had to do this week. I've had to send emails to many individuals that I made commitments to. But the projects that I was working on and some of the things that popped over from those, what happens to our time schedule? The things bleed over. Yeah, right? Okay. So here's the thing, we're here together. This is like hanging out with family to me. So we want to spend time focusing on our gratitude, focusing on those things that this week we have made breakthroughs on. This week's that our diligence and our efforts and the going the extra mile. And guess what? Being more tired, giving up on the quote nice naps, and still getting to have friends like Bob Rousseau that remind me that Steve, you're in the Pacific Northwest for a reason because you're 30 minutes away from waterfalls, rivers, desert, deep forest, right? And it is your responsibility to limit those things, prioritize those, and be able to make those part of your life, right? Right. Otherwise, I could have stayed in Dallas, Texas, and lived around concrete and glass and heat and nothing worth driving to. Okay. That's why I moved here, right? So I'm going to start off this morning as we're focusing on our gratitude. And the first thing I'm going to give my gratitude for is for Bob. Okay. Bob helped me remember this week to balance because in the way that we always give ourselves the pat on the back about how much we're doing and how much we're pressing ourselves to the edge, how many hours we're averaging working. Okay. That's what came up for me coming under my dad, coming as a Texan, is how hard and how much you could work and outwork everyone else, right? I never wanted to be that guy that someone beat me because they outworked me. But here's the thing, Bob made such a great impact on my life this week because he just learned to stop and take a minute to drop the tempo, take that breath, and guess what he did? He shared that moment that we had blocked out on a time call together to do what to me? To help me take a breather, slow down, focus, and move that high pitch of my breath. Think about this. When you're really working hard, where does your breath come from? Comes from
From your inner self, from the source, from
good.
God.
What I'm saying though, the physical part of your breath is called a pant. When you're really, really
Okay.
working hard, notice that your breath is the top of your chest. And your breath is short and the pattern is quick. Okay? So when you get to take awareness of where you're at and slow down, what happens to that pant that's at the top of your chest? The rapid pace,
You,
what happens?
you take a deeper breath that goes into your abdominal,
Correct.
and it calms your
Correct.
sympathetic nervous system.
So that's exactly right, Lisa. So that calming breath where you open your full diaphragm and you breathe with your lungs into your stomach. And that does what? Slows your mind down, helps you to focus, takes away all that jitteriness of our hyper pace, right? So
Mhm.
I'm thankful this week. That was a long thank you, but I'm thankful for Bob for what he helped me do this week. Okay? Something that we all need to do more. So who else? We're on the gratitude roundtable. Jump in here and share with us.
Well, I've got something very important that I would like to share, and I hope the family will help me.
Sure.
Um, and that what I am grateful for is the birth of you, Steve. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve. Happy birthday
Birthday
to
to you.
you.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Amen.
Yay.
That is so very nice of all of you. Oh, that's so great. Thank you, Nisa. And here's
Happy
the,
birthday.
right?
Way! I hope you made a
There we
wish.
go. Oh, incredible. Thank you so much. Very awesome.
Okay.
That's really, really kind of you. Thank you so much.
So
Oh,
I've been wanting to do that since your birthday, but I realized I had already done my usual trick, so I couldn't use that to surprise you.
awesome. Thank you so much.
So I just want to say, Steve, I am so grateful to you. I'm so grateful you were born, to share with us all your knowledge and to be so generous and teach us to be humble, and also teach us to be true to ourselves and to be uh, constantly in touch with our own authentic self, especially in this world of materialism and fakeism and all of that. So I thank you.
Thank you so much. You're so kind. Um, you know, I go back. I've studied for so long. I feel, and how many of you ever feel that all the effort that you're doing sometimes you feel like you're just not making the impact? How many of you ever feel that? Is that just me? Everybody. Okay. Randy, what do you think? I mean, I know you're in this every day. You're focused on this environment. Do you feel that you're making the traction that all of your excellence should be making, or sometimes do you feel like, man, what?
There's never enough people talking about kindness,
Right,
and not just talking about it, but there's never enough people acting out and doing kindness. And
right.
there are a lot of people out there doing it, but there needs to be a lot more. I mean, that's part of what I've had my heads down on. I just finished the second edition of my book, The
Congratulations!
Kindness
Awesome.
Wow.
2.0.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm preparing to go and speak. Believe it or not, I'm going to Turkey at the end of this month, right by where the heat is. Uh,
Wow.
Speaking at a leadership conference to DHL Global Forwarding to 150 leaders from 17 African and Middle Eastern countries,
Right.
talking to them about the importance of kindness, why kindness matters.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
I'm in the process of, my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine.
Hmm.
I'm in the process of creating what I call a kindness library. And it'll enable people to come online and purchase right now just one volume, but hopefully many more volumes, like the chicken soup for the soul books,
Sure.
volumes with books that have stories of love and kindness, authentic,
Sure.
inspiring,
Right.
and and uplifting. I'm going to invite people, everybody here,
Awesome.
people all over the world have had their own experiences, meaningful experiences with love and kindness. Well,
Outstanding.
would you like to share that story? Send it in,
Wow.
and I'll do a collection. We're putting it into volumes, and they're going to sell for $12.95,
Wow.
and all the proceeds will go directly to two organizations right now that I've vetted through Charity Watch that are doing great things over to help refugees, and that's CARE and Doctors Without Borders.
Absolutely.
And so, sorry for taking that much time, but
No, no, no. That's exactly
I'm
right.
trying hard to do good things, to spread kindness, to promote kindness, to inspire people to be kind. Because really, what is kindness? Kindness is love in action. It's life. The success in life is all about loving people,
Right.
loving ourselves, loving the people around us. Doing everything we can to inspire people to inspire, encourage, invite
Sure.
people to adopt behaviors that show value and appreciation for other people.
Absolutely.
And that's what love is, and that's what kindness in action is: behaviors that show that we appreciate and value ourselves and other people. And so my
And
why in
Randy,
life
you're
is
perfect.
to inspire that. So anyway, thanks for letting me be long-winded there for a minute.
No, no, and that's what we're here for, and that's one of the things that I'll kind of tie together what you're saying here and Nisa, where you're, you the point that we feel like we're not making enough effort. The fact that we're making the effort is the enough. Does that make sense?
Well,
Mhm.
that's true. We just need to be making the effort,
Right.
doing our best to do what we can do within our sphere of influence.
Yeah. And there's many times where we want everyone that we know to step up to our level of dedication and our level of passion. And everybody's not ready yet.
Well, we're not all at the same level. We have to just one of the things I emphasize in my book is, start where you are.
Mhm.
Start where you are, work within the people, work within your sphere of influence, invite, encourage people to be kind. And then as you gather strength, as you can, do what you can to expand that influence.
Right. Absolutely. So, Randy, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being so dedicated where you're going to be able to make such an impact in the world and that you're making such regular action every day. Thank you for being part of us, and thank you for sharing your new book. And we'd love to all be able to contribute. So let us know how to do that, or send it to me, and I'll share it with the
I'll send
group.
you some information in the next few days.
Yeah, and then I'll push it out to everyone else, and so that way, then we'll get a little more of what we're talking about. Some more of those things that could pop into our email inbox, right? But we'll try to do something that has a bell on it, so we can go, hey, this is super important. We're really trying to make a difference in the world.
Well, and the beautiful thing about this, just really quick, about the kindness library, you get a book that has uplifting stories that help you to feel good, but at the same time, you get the chance to give some kindness and love away,
Right.
to the people that need it desperately right now. So I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Randy, for being here. Thank you, my friend, for making the effort and doing above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you, my friend.
Well, thank you for making the effort to put this together. I'm just blessed to know you, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. And let's see, we've got a few other folks. Thank you, Tony, for joining us now. I just saw that you were able to come on. Let's do some more gratitude here. We've heard what I would call the man that's making a difference in the world. Thank you, Randy. And Nisa, thank you so much for your birthday wish and for being here. And each of you, thank you for being in my life. What else are we grateful for today? Somebody jump in.
So I'm just going to say good morning, everyone. I'm grateful for our family and specifically our children.
Mhm.
My son turned 21 this past week, and they grow so quickly, right?
Sure.
And every time we have a birthday, we try to reminisce about like their birth, and sometimes that story is a little embarrassing for them, but we had fun with family and went out to eat. And so I'm grateful for my son's name is Keola, and he's been growing and doing a lot in his life. And we asked him, like, people asked him, like, how do you feel now that you're 21? And of course, there's the uncle that we went out to a Japanese restaurant, and there's always that uncle that has to like initiate the rite of passage, right?
Sure.
Like, here, have some sake.
Right. There you go.
And they asked him, like, well, how does it feel to be 21? And he was like, the same,
Mhm.
But for the rest of us, it's exciting to just see a young man grow and have a lot to look forward ahead of him, just to be there to support him. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
How cool. Rite of passage. Wow. Um,
Kind of a rite of passage, but it's just kind
no.
of one of those traditions,
Oh, I
right?
know. There is a great book if you have a son and you want to read some really great philosophy. Obviously, Joseph Campbell is one of the greats, but so I'm not going to detract from that. The Man, the Myth, and the Legend, I think, is one of his, but talks about the hero cycle. And I'm saying this for men because I'm not a woman, so I don't know if it applies there. I think it should, but I don't know because I'm not. Um, I looked at this from a father trying to help my son as I was helping him through rite of passage. And there's a great book called Iron John. Iron like the iron that you hammer, on an anvil. Okay, Iron John, and it's written by Robert Bly, B-L-Y. Magnificent book on the research into the rite of passage of what used to be in young men maturing into their manhood and how we have lost that in our modern world. And some really interesting stories and some insights of what our young men need in this acknowledgement that as they move through the rite of passage, why it's so critical for them to evolve through it. So I'll just mention that point. It really made a great impact on my life. When you said write a passage, bingo, another one of my books, because I'm a book nerd. So sometimes when you say a thing, I'll remember something. So we've got a few more minutes here. And thank you, Christy, for sharing that. Always with family those are, what's the card? For everything else, there's MasterCard or Visa, but they're priceless. That's the point, is those moments are so priceless. So amazing.
Yeah, I just want to say to Randy that, with this terrible conflict that's happening, there's been a lot of kindness as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's given an opportunity for a lot of people to be kind. Like in Poland, there have been mothers leaving push chairs, for mothers fleeing, and people just picking people up and at the borders and giving them accommodation and food and all of that. So there's been, amongst everything negative, there's always something positive that comes out, and it brings out the humanity in people.
You get to see the most extraordinary levels of who we are as human beings in the greatest places of crisis and chaos. Um, you do see that, and if I'm to give an idea of why would the Creator allow such horrible events to occur inside of our world, and my homespun thoughts is that only in those deepest, darkest hours do we get to find out who we are, and do we get to see the greatest exhibitions of humanity in those others that make great sacrifices. And that's inspiring, doesn't it? It lifts us all up to the next level. It tells us what we can do as well. Yeah, Randy.
I was just going to say, I appreciate what Nisa said. It is so true. There's all these beautiful organizations that are stepping up to help the people there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people stepping up to do what they can to support us. And I appreciate what you just said, Steve. I firmly believe that there's nothing that's happening right now that God's not aware of. I mean, there's none of this that has taken him by surprise. Right. But because, like any loving father, I firmly believe he's our father. Mm-hmm. And just like any loving father here, he allows us to have freedom of choice. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're going to make dumb choices. Mm-hmm. We're going to make dumb choices. Mm-hmm. And but if he stepped in and intervened every time we make a dumb choice, what would this world be like? We'd be a bunch of automatons. To be just like the little kid that's trying to walk. If we don't let them fall down, yeah, they're never going to learn to walk. And as tragic as some of these things are, he also allows us to. He recognizes the fact that actions have consequences, and he's told us exactly what the consequences are for things. But then he says, but you have the right to choose. You can choose to do these things. We can choose to do all kinds of things. Thing is, we don't get to choose the consequences. He's the one that's the arbiter of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I remember in some of my darkest days having conversations with my dad after losing everything and trying to, the feel sorry, self-pity party like Job had sitting in the ash heap. I'm sitting there telling my dad, which is a, decorated Marine, from combat. And I'm sitting there having my boohoo time, and he's listening, like a good father. And I was very angry at God because God should have stepped in and intervened and not let this happen. And here's my sense of justice, and God isn't fair and all that. How many of you have done that when everything goes wrong? Yeah.
Yes.
So where was this all powerful God to just snap and make everything all perfect in my life? Come on, why? And we all go through that. We ask those questions, And I remember my dad just sitting there, and obviously coming from a Marine perspective, he goes, how would you ever know what you're capable of doing in the harshest hours unless you've been tested?
That's amazing.
How would you know? So, I post some of this in Facebook and other places, but there's some great quotes that I bumped across here this last week. And that is that we never get an opportunity to know what we can become. That's what this whole masterclass is about. Be as you wish to seem. What can you become? And you don't know what you can become until you're what? Tested.
Hell.
You're challenged. You have to have problems. That's called chaos. That's called unexpected events. If everything was peachy and everything went like we wanted and everyone acted perfectly, then
There would be no need.
right, there wouldn't be a need for us to do what? To rise and rise again, because we would never fall. That's one of the
Mhm.
great insights from the Dark Knight trilogy that's repeated all the way through there with Bruce Wayne, battling with his vigilante version of Batman. Why do we fall? And goes back to that video of being in the bottom of that well that he had fell through and had broken his leg and was in the bottom, and finally his father comes to, down a rope, comes down to rescue him. And as he's carrying it back up into the house, he says, Bruce, why do we fall? So we can learn how to pick ourselves up. So we can learn
Yes.
how to pick ourselves up. And picking ourselves up is about our focus. It is about what we're going to talk about in the next 30-minute session. I dropped the link there. If you could hang with us and go to the next one, we're going to talk about how to use the compass to get our bearing, how to focus on those things that are the most effective, not the efficient, but the most effective next actions that we should be doing to do what? To take us to that ultimate outcome that we feel that the Creator has put inside of us, part of our DNA, that insight that we feel that is our definition of meaning, and how do we fill our life with more of that meaning so we become meaningful, right? So
Yes.
we're going to jump off this one, and I'll see you in about 30 seconds. All right. Thank you, Randy, for being here, my friend.
You're welcome. I've got to run. I'm afraid I'm not going to be on the next ones. I've got to go help a friend. So
Understand, my friend. Thank
all
you
right.
for being here. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.